Welcome back, everyone, to English Eden, your garden for growing natural, confident English. I'm Sam.
And I'm Ruby. And today we're taking you on a little trip. We're leaving the textbook behind and hitting the road.
That's right. But we're not just talking about any trip. We're talking about the journeys that go a little sideways. The stories you tell your friends later and can't stop laughing about.
Exactly. Because let's be real, the perfect, smooth vacation doesn't make for a very good story, does it? The best memories often come from the mishaps.
And a huge number of those mishaps happen because of one thing, a tiny little language gap. A missing word can turn a simple task into an epic adventure.
You have no idea, Sam. I have lived this truth more times than I can count. A simple misunderstanding can turn a quest for food into an unforgettable culinary experience.
Exactly. Because let's be real, the perfect smooth vacation doesn't make for a very good story, does it? The best memories often come from the mishaps.
And a huge number of those mishaps happen because of one thing, a tiny little language gap. A missing word can turn a simple task into an epic adventure.
You have no idea, Sam. I have lived this truth more times than I can count. A simple misunderstanding can turn a quest for food into an unforgettable culinary experience.
I sense a story coming on, and I have a feeling it involves more than just a wrong order.
Oh, it does. This story is etched into my memory and my taste buds. It involves the majestic Great Wall of China, a moment of blind confidence, and a very, very mysterious soup.
Okay, you have our full attention. Welcome to English Eden, everyone. Get comfortable because this is travel fails and food frights. Ruby, paint the picture for us. Where are we?
Okay, so picture this. I had just spent the entire day hiking on the Great Wall. It was breathtaking, absolutely magnificent, but also completely exhausting. My legs felt like wet noodles.
I can only imagine. So you were running on empty.
Empty? Sam, I was a black hole of hunger. I was so hungry, I could have eaten my own passport. So I stumble into this little family run restaurant near the wall. It's packed, loud, full of the amazing energy of a local spot. I find a tiny table, and a friendly waiter hands me a menu.
And the moment of truth, the menu was?
A complete mystery. Not a single word of English, but it had pictures. And my eyes immediately landed on this one glorious picture of what looked like the most delicious steaming bowl of noodles with fresh vegetables and a clear, tasty-looking broth. It looked safe. It looked familiar. Ruby, drop to the phone like relic, pace and reverence.
It looked like salvation. Tone becomes falsely confident. I pointed to it, gave the waiter my most confident, I know what I'm doing smile, and said, "This one, please."
The classic tourist move. Point and pray.
Genuine laugh of agreement. Precisely. I thought, how hard could this be? A bowl of noodles is a bowl of noodles, right? The waiter nodded, said something very fast in Chinese that I, of course, didn't understand, and rushed off to the kitchen. Voice filled with proud recollection, I sat back, feeling so proud of myself. Look at me, I thought, navigating a local restaurant like a pro.
Ah, the pride that comes before the fall. So, the food arrives.
Well, about 15 minutes later, I see the waiter coming back through the crowd. But he's not carrying a bowl. He's struggling with this gigantic black metal pot. It's bubbling and steaming like a witch's cauldron. And with a grunt, he puts this massive thing right in the middle of my tiny table, beaming with pride.
A pot for one person? That was your first clue.
It was a blazing red flag, but I was still in denial. So speaking a bit faster, trying to rationalize, maybe portions are just big here. So I peer into the pot, and my confident smile just melts away. This was not my simple bowl of noodles. The broth was a dark, murky brown color, and floating in it were things.
Summer, leaning in, voice full of amused curiosity. Things. You have to be more specific, Ruby. What kind of things?
All right, fine. There were some definitely alien looking mushrooms and some dark leafy greens I'd never seen before. But then my eyes focused on a shape. It was a foot, a chicken foot with the yellow claws still attached. And right next to it, a piece of something that was definitely intestine and other unidentifiable animal parts that I don't even have words for. Pause for effect, then, in a stunned, deadpan tone, I am not joking, Sam. I think I saw an eye. A small, gelatinous eye just staring up at me from the depths.
No way. An eye? Ruby, that's the stuff of nightmares.
It was a culinary haunted house, and the smell that wafted up was very earthy, very strong. And the waiter just stood there, looking so expectant and happy, waiting for me to dive in.
So, what did you do? You couldn't just wave it away. That would be so impolite.
I know, I was culturally trapped. I had to save face. So I did the only thing I could think of. Slower pace, describing physical awkwardness. I picked up my chopsticks, my hands trembling just a little, gave the waiter a weak, terrified smile, and I started fishing around in this murky pot, desperately trying to find something, anything that resembled a noodle or a simple piece of carrot.
Please tell me you found a lifeline.
Barely. It was 95% mystery meat and strange organs. I finally managed to spear a piece of cabbage, dipped it in the broth to be polite, and ate it. Pause, searching for a diplomatic word. It tasted interesting. The waiter gave me a thumbs up and finally walked away. I just sat there, all alone at this little table, staring into this gigantic, bubbling pot of unknown soup with absolutely no idea what the protocol was. Do I drink the broth? Do I eat the other things? It was a true low point.
So, the heart of the problem was the communication breakdown. You saw a picture and made an assumption without the vocabulary to confirm it.
100%. The problem was my lack of specific food vocabulary. I didn't know the words for what I actually wanted, and I certainly didn't know the words to avoid what I didn't want.
Okay, let's pause the story here and break this down for our listeners, because this is the real, practical English lesson hidden in Ruby's disaster. This is where a few key phrases could have saved the day. A gentle highlighting sound effect chimes. So, let's talk about the English focus for this situation. The key area here is restaurant and food vocabulary.
The most critical words I was missing that day were menu, order, and crucially, vegetarian.
A lifesaver of a word, vegetarian, meaning a person who does not eat meat or fish. If you had known that word, you could have asked a game-changing question.
I could have. And the two key phrases that would have been my superheroes that day are, what would you recommend? And does this contain?
A lifesaver of phrases. Let's practice them. Repeat after us, listeners. What would you recommend? Pauses for a beat.
Perfect. This is a polite and fantastic question. It asks the waiter for their expertise. It makes them feel involved and often leads you to a great local dish.
And the second one, even more important for Ruby's situation. Does this contain meat? Or does this contain what? And you can add any ingredient you need to avoid. Does this contain seafood? Does this contain nuts? Does this contain dairy?
Yes, so my entire soup catastrophe could have been avoided if I had just pointed to the picture and said, "Excuse me, does this contain meat?" Simple, direct, and it would have saved me from the feet and the unblinking eye.
So, the takeaway from Ruby's Great Wall Soup catastrophe is crystal clear. Before you travel, spend just 30 minutes learning basic food vocabulary. It's not just about being polite, it's about culinary self-defense.
It really is. Don't be like me. Don't just point and hope for the best. arm yourself with a few keywords and phrases. It transforms the experience from scary to exciting.
You know, it's funny how one missing word can lead to a soup catastrophe, but it can also lead you geographically astray. Your food story reminds me of another kind of adventure.
Oh, don't even get me started. If you think my food ordering was bad, wait until you hear about my brilliant navigation skills. Or should I say my complete lack of it?
Let me guess, this one is about transportation.
It is, and it all started with so much confidence, just like the soup. I was in Beijing, and I wanted to be a real traveler, not just take taxis everywhere. I wanted to use the public bus. How hard could that be? I saw the number, I recognized it from my map. I was sure I knew where it was going.
Famous last words.
Truly. So I get on the bus. It's packed, hot, loud. I'm holding on for dear life. We drive, and the city starts to look different, less touristy, more local. The buildings get shorter. I start to get a bad feeling.
The sinking feeling.
Exactly. That I have made a terrible mistake feeling. I look at my map, but nothing makes sense. Finally, the bus just stops. It's the last stop, the terminal. Everyone gets off. The driver looks at me, the only foreigner, and says something. I just stare blankly.
So you were in the middle of nowhere.
Completely. I was in a residential suburb I didn't know the name of. No taxis in sight. My phone battery was low. I was officially, properly lost.
So what did you do? This is the moment of truth.
Tone softens, becoming storytelling. I saw a little old lady selling fruit from a cart. She looked friendly. I walked up to her, holding out my map. I pointed to my hotel. I had to act it out. I pointed to myself. I pointed to the spot on the map. I made a walking motion with my fingers, and then a confused face, like, how do I get here?
You were playing charades.
I was. And you know what? It worked. She was so sweet. She couldn't speak a word of English, but she understood. Voice fills with warmth and gratitude. She took my map, pointed back the way the bus came, and used her fingers to show me I needed to take bus number 103. She even walked me to the bus stop.
That's a wonderful story, actually. A moment of human connection through the panic.
It was, but it was also completely preventable. I didn't know how to ask one simple, crucial question.
Let's get into that. Time for our second English focus.
A gentle highlighting sound effect chimes.
Sam, clear and direct. The key area here is transportation and directions, the vocabulary that saves you from getting lost.
The words I desperately needed were bus, stop, direction, terminal, and schedule.
And the magic phrase you needed when you got on that bus was, does this bus go to, for example, does this bus go to the city center? Or, does this bus go to the summer palace?
Let's practice that. Repeat after us, everyone. Does this bus go to? Pauses for a beat.
Sam adding another crucial tool. And when you're already lost, the most important phrase is, I am lost. Can you help me? Or, how do I get to, while pointing to a map or an address?
Ruby with the clarity of hindsight. How do I get to the Hepping Hotel? Simple, clear. It would have saved me an hour of panic and a very dramatic game of charades.
Sam summarizing the lesson. So, the takeaway? Always confirm the direction of the bus or train before you get on, and have your destination written down or on your phone.
Ruby, warm, encouraging advice. And don't be afraid to ask for help. People are usually much kinder than you think.
You know, getting lost is one thing, but at least it often leads to a nice story. What's a little trickier is when a language gap hits your wallet and your conscience.
Ugh, don't. The bargaining blender? This one still makes me cringe.
Okay, you have to tell us.
I was at a famous street market and I saw a beautiful silk scarf. The seller said 500. He meant 500 yuan.
A bit expensive for a scarf.
Right? So I wanted to bargain. I remembered the word for too expensive. I said, too expensive. He nodded and said, 450. I wanted to say 15, but I got confused. I thought the word for 15 was 50. So I said, with great confidence, I give you 50.
No, Ruby, you offered him less than his original price.
I know, and he looked so confused. He said, 50? No, 450. And I, thinking he was misunderstanding me, said with stubborn confidence, yes, 50. I was so proud of myself for bargaining. He just shook his head, took the scarf, wrapped it up, and gave it to me. I paid him 50 yuan, thinking I'd gotten an amazing deal.
But you hadn't. He just gave up because the misunderstanding was so big.
Exactly. I walked away feeling like a champion bargainer, when in reality, I had just massively underpaid because of my language mistake. I felt terrible later when I realized.
So the language focus here is clear. Numbers and shopping.
The key vocabulary: price, cost, expensive, cheap, discount.
And the key phrases, how much is this, and that's too expensive. But also knowing your numbers perfectly. Practice from 1 to 100 until they are automatic.
Let's practice the phrase, how much is this? And that's too expensive. The takeaway? Know your numbers. And if you're going to bargain, practice the phrases beforehand. It avoids awkwardness and ensures you're actually communicating.
And it saves you from feeling like a thief, even by accident.
Exactly. You know, a wrong number can lead to an awkward purchase. But using the wrong signal in a pharmacy, that can lead to a real scene.
The pharmacy panic. I had a headache, a simple headache. I went to a pharmacy, and instead of saying headache, I pointed to my head and made a pained face, groaning a little.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh yes. The pharmacist's eyes went wide. He thought I had a severe head injury. He started talking very fast and urgently, and he reached for the phone, probably to call an ambulance.
You had to stop him.
I was waving my hand, saying, no, no, small problem. I finally found the word pain. I said, small pain, small pain. He calmed down, understood, and gave me some aspirin. But for a minute there, it was a real crisis.
All because of one missing word. This might be the most important vocabulary of all.
A gentle highlighting sound effect chimes.
Solemn and important. Our final English focus. Health and the pharmacy.
The essential words: pharmacy, medicine, pain, headache, stomachache, fever, allergy.
And the key phrases: I have a headache, I have a stomachache. So simple, so effective.
Let's practice. Repeat after us. I have a headache. Sam?
The takeaway? Learn the words for common health issues. It's not just about convenience, it can prevent a real emergency.
Trust me on this one. A little preparation is much better than a near ambulance experience.
So, to wrap up our journey through travel fails today, let's do a quick recap of our life-saving English.
Energetic, clear, and point by point. For food, use what would you recommend and does this contain? For transport, use does this bus go to and how do I get to? For shopping, know your numbers and use how much is this and that's too expensive. For health, use the simple phrase I have a plus your symptom.
Remember, folks, the goal isn't to be fluent before you travel. The goal is to be armed with the key phrases that solve 90% of your problems. It makes your travel smoother, less stressful, and way more fun.
And it gives you better stories to tell. Instead of a story about being scared and lost, you have a story about a nice old lady who helped you.
That's the spirit. We hope you enjoyed this trip with us. If you have your own travel fail stories, we'd love to hear them. Share them with us on our social media.
And if you found this helpful, please share it with a friend who is learning English or loves to travel. It really helps us grow our English Eden community.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep learning, keep exploring, and don't be afraid to make a few mistakes along the way.
It's all part of the adventure. See you next time.
Bye for now.